Do your parents try to control every aspect of your life and criticize everything that you do? Recently, a viewer reached out to me and shared their experience of how, since they were a kid, they've worked so hard to please their parents, but their parents are just constantly dissatisfied. Now, even as an adult, their parents are not happy with the job they have, the city they live, the partner they have, and even the kind of books that they read. And whenever they try to stand up for themselves, it turns into an argument where the parents become very disrespectful. It's just come to a point that despite the fact that this person has accomplished so many things, they still feel like an imposter when it comes to being an adult. Now, I know a lot of people who watch my videos resonate with this person's experience. When the people that you are wired to look for when it comes to guidance and support are constantly telling you that you are doing something wrong, you are naturally not going to feel like you do anything right. You are going to develop imposter syndrome when it comes to living life. So I'd like to offer some perspective and break down the situation of what's happening so that you can have an idea of how to move forward. When parents are extremely controlling, they're operating out of a place of fear. It's a gut reaction. And this gut reaction is tied to the fact that they don't view their children as independent beings. They view their children as extensions of themselves, meaning that their kids want what they want and want the life that they want. So anytime these kids do something that is not going to create that life that they want, they are going to criticize it. So when they're nagging at you, it's not because you're doing something objectively wrong. It's because they think that you're doing something that's not going to create their subjective view of what a perfect life is. When parents think that you are an extension of them, it means they believe that you represent them. It means that their ego and self-image is affected by the way you behave. And that is a lot of pressure and not one a child should ever feel, because it limits you. It makes you feel like you can't do anything to find out what you want in life and what you want to create, because you're so worried that anything you do is going to affect how they feel. Parents like this tend to care a lot about self-image and what other people think. And very often, this leaves them with their own unrecognized unfulfillment because they're not even paying attention to what they want, they just care about what other people think. And this usually leaves them more adamant about what is the correct way of living. They've become so detached to their own wants and needs that this sense of unfulfillment manifests itself as a need to create hard rules and criticize those that don't fit those rules, even though those rules don't even make them happy themselves. So if you look at the bigger picture, a parent who's very controlling often behaves that way because of their own tumultuous inner experience. In fact, a parent who is feeling very fulfilled and controlled within themselves are often very supportive and flexible people. So when a parent is overly critical and controlling, they don't recognize that this is actually a very telling sign that they aren't very happy with the rules they created for themselves and for other people either. They aren't in control of themselves. So when it comes to dealing with the imposter syndrome that you have from having overly critical parents, here are the 3 takeaways I would love for you to remember. Number 1 is that your parents don't see you as your own independent being. They see you as an extension of themselves. So everything they say, it doesn't even apply to you as an individual. It applies to this image they have of you in their head. Number 2 is that if they're overly controlling, it is more about their own inner experience and their own lack of control within themselves than it is about you. And number 3, do not take criticism from people who don't have lives that you want. And this applies even to people outside of your parents. And before I wrap this up, let me tell you, when it comes to dealing with parents who aren't aware of their own sense of unfulfillment and unhappiness, there's no real point trying to reason with them. And the best way to go about it is to maintain some healthy distance and hope that they have a moment of clarity on where they could be lacking on their part. There's no real point trying to reach out to them and talk to them about, hey, maybe you're projecting something onto me, maybe you're not so happy yourself, because these things need to happen on their own, especially when a parent is controlling. They kind of look at you as beneath them. So you trying to reach out and say, that they could be working on themselves is usually very triggering for them, and they need to come to that conclusion themselves. So creating distance is the best way of going about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and of course, if you want me to talk about any specific topic or situation, leave a comment down below. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.